I'm doing my reaction video to some I did the Bonds Burgers timeline.
Taunting her to the point where it felt like she's heard it hundreds of times. On her way towards Earth, she could only hear Steven's voice. Her only train of thought being White Diamond's tale of Steven. How great he made everything. Driving Spinel further and further into insanity. For that we have G and Swell to finally meet her other friends. Once again we have the word Swell popping up in there. And we have Spinel finally meeting those she assumes Pink abandoned her for. Although not finally as in it took Spinel forever to arrive to the planet. Obviously the events of these films happen over the course of like a day or so. But for all that waiting Spinel did, she's finally getting a look at what kept Pink Diamond away from her. It also implies, paired with the flashbacks we see later, that Spinel didn't have much interaction with those outside of Pink Diamond. We know her and Pearl have a small history. I'm assuming mainly just awkward glances from Pearl here and there, but I believe this possible isolation is hiding their playful nature from the other elements. Assuming something happened not too long.
Now I'm just wanting to make clear that I'm trying to figure out the full timeline instead of theories. I'll let the theory part up to other people out there as it is their original work and they clearly deserve it for their work. So I'm just going to be seeing what they have done and try to put it all together to see how they work. Shout out to Predicted Cyborg and possibly other people doing so. So let's get on with it.
Lots of fast spoilers and graphic and gory content is in this. Viewer discretion is advised.
So it all starts in the mid-1940s when Jack Walton is born and then Felix Crankin is born. I'm not entirely sure who came first and who came second, but I doubt that matters. Later on, around 1958 or prior, Jack and Felix become friends, probably in primary school, high school, one of the two. Anyway, later in 1958, they start designing the animatronics, and Cyberfun tech is found by the two, along with Bunny Smiles Incorporated being found as well. Later on, Felix Crankin is married, and then Jack Walton is married a few years, possibly later, getting married to a woman called Rosemary, and later getting pregnant and having 3 children, one of them being Sophie. Later on, in 1974, Bond's Burgers is set to open on June 28th in Brighton, Michigan. Now, just a quick side note, if you do actually search it up, you actually go to a restaurant, like a real restaurant, but it's not actually Bond's Burgers. I can't remember what it was exactly, just giving you a heads up there. Also, it's set to open on the June 28th. Just clearing that up as well. Anyway, later Bunny Smiles Incorporated, the technical support tape is made, which is the first tape on the first video of the Walten Files, if you know. Then later on, Sophie possibly becomes the facility caretaker, perhaps? I mean, the suit in the first video kind of proves it, unless it's for a future video or it's not Sophie in the video entirely, it's just a completely different person, but I highly doubt it. Also, the birthday tape from the Relocate Project video is made on June the 11th, which is also the same day that Jack Walton goes missing, possibly being murdered by Felix and put into Bond. It hasn't actually been confirmed that Bond is inside of Jack, it's just possibly what's going on. So later on, Bond, with Jack possibly being inside of Bond, lures a kid called Susan into a room, possibly the back doors, and then puts her inside of Banny, eventually starving to death as being said by the Relocate Project episode, and then starts to possess Banny. Rosemary, meanwhile, is starting to get prescient with Jack's disappearance and starts going to Bond Burgers every night to see if he is there, but with no luck. One night she hears a voice from the backstage and goes to the backstage, but only to find Bond and gets slaughtered and then put inside Shah, the sheep, and is then starting to possess her. Later on, Bond's Burgers closes on the 20th of June with too many incidents happening. Later on, also a side note, the reprogramming phase of Annie tape is made on August the 13th. Not too much, but I think it kind of confirms that the relocate project was already set into action, or at least in its early stages. And Bond's Burgers is condemned before Halloween, as seen by the Lucky You video. Later on, the plans for the relocate project is being worked on December 10th, as seen by Lucky You again. Later on, in 1975? Hold on. This is quite confusing here. Hold on. Cyberfun taped the animatronics on January the 23rd to the BSI facility for the relocate project to be made into action. And then later, on March the 23rd, Cyberfun Tech put the BSI storage facility, or K9, into action, with Felix Kranken in as the leader, hoping to reopen Bond's doors with enough money. A while later, Brian Stokes takes the place as the facility caretaker. Later on, after a few years in development, in 1978, BSI moved the animatronics to the facility, or plans to do something about the relocate project. I'm not entirely 100% sure. But later, on July the 2nd, the relocate project tape is made, which is the first tape from the second episode as well, along with merch being made and hopefully being sold as well. And later, on January the 9th, the K9 Relocate Project technical support tape is made, with Rosemary talking to Sophie, asking where she is inside of it. I mean, it's possibly how Squibus McGribbus's tapes work, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, now we get to the big stuff. This is the main part of the relocate project, I think. So, later on, the 12th to the 14th of July, 1978, Hillary B., Ashley P., and Kevin W., who are the three people who volunteered to be the technicians, stay 3 days in the BSI storage facility to reprogram the animatronics for the relocate project, but unfortunately ultimately failing. And that's when Ashley finds the key given by them from Cyberfun, goes to the back doors, and finds multiple rooms inside of it, ranging from unused animatronics and endos, spare heads, much stuff, a body puppet animatronic, it's quite hard to tell, and Billy the Clown. Going back to find a tape in a previous room, which is actually the birthday tape from 1974, puts it inside of Billy, which at first plays a happy birthday song before saying, when it stops, the lights go out, and Ashley is slain and put inside Billy by Bond, making her. The others, thinking Ashley left early, left. The caretakers would complain about the smell in the back doors, not knowing that it was actually Ashley inside of Billy. The relocate project was then shut down with further instructions, making the relocate project unfortunately unsuccessful. A year later, in 1979, Sunlight Animation, a company with the help of Funny Smiles Incorporated, make a children's TV show called Little Bond's Neighborhood. The episode we see is Bond's Super Sleepover. Now, fun fact, actually, the house that appears on the logo of the series, Brighton 27, is many believed to be the Waltons' house. I'm not sure if there's much support to help this theory, but it's an interesting theory nonetheless. Anyway, moving forward to the final stages of what we have